Hey, Roger Martin here again in Billings, Montana, where the truth will make you free. This judge is a corrupt judge, and she's going to, X22 is going to talk about how corrupt she is and remind us of that.
Proceed on Thursday. Now remember, in 2017, Judge Jackson dismissed the wrongful death suit against Hillary Clinton, filed by two of the families who lost loved ones in Benghazi. The families argued that Clinton had done little help to help their sons and then lied to cover it up. Then on January 19, 2018, Paul Manafort's case was reassigned to Judge Jackson on January 19th, a few weeks after being filed. It is unknown why she was assigned to this case. And by
Remember, she's probably bought off. They've got some dirt on her. We'll find out that later. Doesn't matter. I think Trump will end up appealing her decision, and it will do her a bit of good to judge the way she is.
by whom? Now remember, most of the time, these type of judges, they are blackmailed. And since they are blackmailed, they're instructed to go after these people and do not follow the rule of law.
All right, that's never been a truer statement. Let's go on here.
Rosemont Seneca, as we know. And his tax filings show that Biden was on the Center's board from 2012 through 2018. And this is just getting worse and worse for the Bidens. And then we have Catherine Herridge, who tweeted out the following. Read, Department of Justice letter to House Judiciary lays out roadmap for handling Ukraine matters. New adds U.S. Attorney for coordination of investigations. And she gave us the letter from the U.S. Department of Justice, and they're telling everyone, listen, if you have information, let us know. And this is what you need to do to follow the investigation. The investigations are happening. The Bidens are being squeezed right now, and they're being investigated. And soon, their day is coming. And it's not just their day. It's everyone else's. Remember, the whole point of this was to educate the people. They heard Ukraine, they heard Biden, they heard CrowdStrike, they heard Ukraine.
All right, let's move on.
So, once again, he's not dead.
All right, so check this.
He's under the protection of the Italian intel, and I wonder
This guy's not dead. He's Italian intel's protecting him. And again, who is he? Back up here a bit.
he's being protected. And there is evidence that he's been staying under the radar, but he's been very busy. It seems that he's been caught with prostitutes, and he keeps saying that he has nothing to do with any of this stuff, that he's not an informant.
Let's go back here. Sorry about this. We're going to go back here.
That he's been staying under the radar, but he's been very busy. It seems that he's been caught with prostitutes, and he keeps saying that he has nothing to do with any of this stuff, that he's not an informant. He's not working with the CIA. He's just an analyst. That's all he is. So once again, he's not dead. They found him. He's still alive. He's under the protection of the Italian intel. And I wonder if Durham, when he went out there with Barr, said, listen, just keep this guy. Make sure nothing happens to him. We're going to need him a little bit later, because he's been moved around several times between a number of safe houses in Italy over the past few years. So most likely...
Wow, so Misfit has been moved around by safe houses in Italy. And I'm sure this is why the Durham and Barr went over there and made sure that he's safe, and the Italian intelligence is keeping him that way.
They're going to be calling him in later on. They already have his information. And I believe they're going to get him to come in later on. Now, we know that the deep state can't allow Barr to continue. They tried to get Trump out of office. It didn't work. So now they're trying to go after Barr. They tried to go after Barr before, but now the push is really on because they know that Barr is going to follow the rule of law. Barr has the investigations going on right now. The investigations are wrapping up. And what he knows and what he's found, they know that they are in trouble. And what happened here? There's something like 1,000 or 2,000 federal prosecutors, judges, and whatnot. They've signed a petition calling on Barr to resign. But who cares? First of all, it's not a grassroots movement. This was all planned out. And what's very interesting about this is David Laufman signed the petition. Who's David Laufman? He served as chief of the Justice Department Counterintelligence and Export Control section through 2018. And
So David Laufman is dirty. People that have signed off on this. Okay, what's going on here with this guy? Is another guy that needs to be put in jail.
2016 election cycle. Justice employees gave $438,000 to Hillary Clinton's Democratic presidential campaign, nearly 20 times the $23,874 they gave to Republican Donald Trump. Now, this information was compiled by OpenSecrets.org. Now, the Justice Department currently has 113,000 employees, and the campaign donation numbers show that the department's employees have grown more partisan Democrat in recent years. During the Obama years, the share of justice workers' money going to Democrats shot up from 63% in 2010 to 87% in 2016.
Crooked thieves trying to stay together.
Grack suppressed evidence to protect the prosecutors, his team, and the cadre of malfeasant FBI agents from the discovery of their negligence, crimes, and wrongs. Of note is the focus on SSA-1, also known as Joe Pienka. He was responsible for violations of FISA Woods procedures and for the outright falsehoods in the original FISA application. Information never produced to the defense. So to get the FISA warrant, they left out information, they falsified information, and the defense team never received any of this. But let's go back to post 3693 so we can understand what is going on here, because Q kind of laid this out. It says, same evidence to free Flynn currently being used to indict others grand jury. 302 mod 1 count. Who listened in 2 count FISA? 6 counts. FBI agent 1P Flynn interview. If FISA warrant was illegal, if FISA warrant predicated on illegal uncorroborated, if FISA actors purposely withheld exculpatory evidence from the court, watch what happens next. What did Technofog just tell us? That the information was never produced to the defense. To get the FISA warrants, what did they do? They withheld information. They obtained the FISA warrants illegally. Let's move on to post 3714. Q gave us a link to fiscuscourts.gov, and it says, the frequency with which representations made by FBI personnel turn out to be unsupported or contradicted by information in their possession, and with which they withheld information detrimental to their case, calls into question whether information contained in other FBI applications is reliable. Think Flynn FISA. This is in brackets, bold, all caps. Illegal. Which means once the D-class comes, once they learn that this FISA application was obtained illegally, Flynn goes free. Boom. Just like that. Now, very interestingly, we have been seeing a lot of arrests that have to do with human trafficking, pedophilia. We know Epstein, that is a huge case. We've seen NXIVM. And now the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts of America, they have filed for bankruptcy. Why? Because there are so many sex abuse lawsuits against them. And they couldn't handle it because it is completely corrupt. So this petition that was filed in Delaware Bankruptcy Court halts the hundreds of lawsuits the BSA is facing that allege sexual misconduct by people within the 110-year-old organization over the years. And the latest case is 300 victims in New York as of last April. And it looks like the Boy Scouts of America is trying to shut all of this down, because now it is really getting out of hand, and they're going to have to redo their entire organizations and put checks and safety checks in place. Now, very interestingly, we know that Senator Murphy, he was caught and he was talking to Iranian officials in Munich. And since he was caught, he had to come clean, and he had to admit that he did meet with Zarif on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference. Trump, he was leaving, he was on the tarmac, and reporters were asking him questions, and Trump said, it seems that he might have violated the Logan Act. Remember, the Logan Act is a federal law passed in 1799 that prohibits American citizens from negotiating with foreign powers. Murphy previously called for the Department of Justice to investigate former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn for violating the Logan Act in 2017. He said any effort to undermine our nation's foreign policy, even during a transition period, may be illegal and must be taken seriously. Well, didn't Murphy just do the same exact thing? And Murphy also
All right, so violations of the Logan Act. We'll see what happens with this guy.
Many people disagree with the sentence. He's a Democrat. He's not a Republican. It was a prosecution by the same people, Comey, Fitzpatrick, the same group, very far from his children.
Now, what's very interesting about this is, first of all, he's not a Republican. He's a Democrat. He's been in jail for 8 years. But the individuals that went ahead and prosecuted him, who were they? They were Comey, Fitzpatrick. So Trump is letting everyone know it's the same individuals. Did he just send a message to them? I do believe so.
All right, let's move on. Don't have all day for some of this stuff.
Who was in the Democratic Party and decided to become a Republican. Let me continue. Who controls the D Party? Who really controls the D Party? Threat. If a major political party can be controlled, does that represent a clear and present danger to the United States of America? Under this it says in brackets, GS, George Soros. Q then gives us a Twitter link to Real Saavedra. And it says, Dershowitz, I have proof Obama ordered FBI investigation at request of George Soros. Under this, Q says, purpose, D's install numerous rules and regs. R.E. D Party nomination winner. Define superdelegates. Superdelegates are used in a Democratic convention to counterbalance the vote of normal delegates. Wait, aren't these the same people calling for the removal of the Electoral College because it is unfair, but they're using superdelegates where they can bring in the person they really want? Q says, how do you control the outcome? Superdelegates. Why is the outcome important? Because then you can control those people. When George Soros...
So superdelegates and George Soros is controlling the Democratic presidency and more. Let's move on here. Crooked DNC is working overtime to take the Democratic nomination away from Bernie again. Watch what happens to the superdelegates in round 2, a rigged convention. Let's move on. Corruption, corruption, corruption.
Because without the mainstream media, these non-elected, the Deep Party, the Deep State, they couldn't push their agenda. So all of this combined is part of the problem. Q is letting us know this. Let's move on to post.
Oh my stars. It's just disgusting how dirty politics is.
3871. This is a Twitter link to 45 Harrison Harold. And in this Twitter link, it says the following. Is this who George Soros made puppet Hussein investigate? I ran, I won. I was investigated, and it could have been the UK by Australia, could have been by Italy. I was investigated by the Obama administration. Now, in this tweet, this is Trump speaking. Just take a listen to what Trump says.
Against me. If we feel there's corruption, we have a right to go to a foreign country. And just so you know, I was investigated. Okay, me. In my campaign, I ran, I won. I was investigated. You won't say that, will you? I was investigated, and they think it could have been by UK. They think it could have been by Australia. They think it could have been by Italy. So when you get down to it, I was investigated by the Obama administration. I was investigated. So when these people talk, but as far as I'm concerned, what I want to look at and what we want to investigate, anything having to do with corruption.
Now, under this,
I'm going to let it go at that. This man and his team, the White Hats, the fair judicial system, we're fighting a survival of our legal system, our political system. We have never seen anything like that in modern history. This is far worse than the McCarthy era, far worse than any era that I know of, and it's bad. Let's go to something positive. I'm going to edit this and move on. Good day.